Hey guys, Mark and Katie here. On this video, I think what we're going to do is just kind of show you kind of our daily routine that we do every evening. I'll do another video here real soon on kind of my morning routine, on what I do with the chickens every morning before I go to work. But on this one, we're going to show what we do every evening. It's kind of our time together, kind of our quiet time that we enjoy. So anyways, come along with us. Okay, so one of the things that we have to do about every other day, we have to change the old duck pond water. They tend to get it pretty nasty. So we're going to show you guys what we do. This is, like I said, every other day, and what we do to put some fresh water in.
What we do is we have a pump that we use, and we kind of pump all the water out, and sometimes we'll use the water kind of as like a water fertilizer kind of, and we'll dump it into the bucket.
Yeah, I want to do that.
Yeah, for the tree.
Yeah,
we'll put it on like we put it on the peach tree. We put it on different vegetables in the garden, because I mean it has duck poop in it. So we'll take that and put it somewhere else and let it do good somewhere else. So we try not to waste anything.
Okay, so what I use to pump it out with is just a little electric pump that you would use in like an evaporator cooler. That works best for us so far. We haven't had too many problems. One thing you can do too with those is they've got like a mesh that you can wrap around it to keep a lot of the feathers and stuff from getting in it. We haven't done that yet. So far it hasn't given us too many problems. We try to clean it every time we use it and kind of take care of it. So, but they're pretty inexpensive. You can get them for like 20 bucks. You know, of course we're new at this, so we're trying this just to see if it works. So we'll let you guys know how it works after the first year or so, or when it dies. Okay, so now that we got it empty, we got it out of its hole, we put it over here. Now one of the reasons why we empty it, or we pump it out before we take it out, is of course it's that flimsy kiddie pool plastic, and you know, we don't want it. More bends the weaker it gets, so we want to get all the weight out of it so that way it doesn't crack or break or anything. So now we're just gonna get our hose and spray it out. When we're done with that, we'll get back to you. Well, to be really honest, that was the first time we've seen them actually mate. And of course, it has to be the one night that we record on for YouTube. All right, so now that we got that done, of course the girls like for me to come out and give them worms, but I'm gonna wait. Make them wait for that part. So now we're gonna get them some food. Got the ducks and the Americanas still on kind of finer grit food instead of the pellets, and we're probably gonna graduate them here this next time I buy. We're almost out of that food, so probably when I buy the next one, I'll buy the bigger grit or the more thicker pellets. So let's go feed them.
Did you ever talk about that you built this, by the way? Have we ever talked about that?
Not yet.
So he built this whole entire nice cabinet here that we have actually on the side of the old hen coop, which houses all of our feed, all of our extra stuff that we have, our mealworm.
We've got all kinds
anything
of
we could
stuff. All of our Cool Whip plastic bowls.
Those come in handy. So yeah, so I love it because I mean, where else would we have to keep all this stuff besides inside the house or a shed? And it just
keeps mice out of it.
Yeah, good job, babe.
That's kind of the good part. All right, let's fill their food up. This ain't for you. Still playing in the pool. So probably put another big thing full of it. I've noticed that now that they're out here and stuff, they're eating grass and bugs and all that, their food lasts a lot longer.
They eat less.
They eat a lot less. So that's nice. That's makes it even cheaper. So and even with the big hens and the rooster, they very rarely eat pellets. I mean, they go in there every so often and eat, but it's not very often. So you know, if you guys are looking at doing backyard chickens and you let them kind of roam free, you really don't have to feed them much. We just give them pellets so that way they can get their calcium intake, because that's important. One thing I'll show you here when we go to feed the other chickens, we add to it is oyster shell, crushed oyster shell, for the calcium that's in it, because that helps them from getting egg bound, and it also helps their eggs get hard, so that way they're not so delicate to where they break real easy. These ones, this is kind of the food I'm giving them is more for younger birds, but they're old enough now that we can start giving them. I'm not going to give them full pellets like I do the older chickens, but I'm going to give them crushed pellets where it's a little bit of a coarser grain. It's not so fine as this. So anyways, and of course I'm gonna talk to somebody down at Tractor Supply before I do it, just to make sure that, you know, that's one thing that you guys can do is if you got questions, you know, get online and ask, or go to your nearest feed store, and usually they have somebody there that can help you with those kind of questions. All right, so now on the big chickens, they, like I said, they get more of a pellet, a full pellet. It's not as coarse as the other stuff, but one thing we do is we have oyster shell back here. It's just crushed oyster shell. I usually put 2 or 3 big handfuls into their food. I'll probably just put 2 in this one because we're just putting it in their small little feed can that we kind of keep out for them. We just mix it in. You know, they're not going to eat all of it, of course, but they're going to eat you know, some of it as they're eating their foods. So as you can see, there's still a lot of oyster shell still left in it, and it's all over the ground and stuff, but it's still good to give it to them. It looks like they're not eating it, but they are. So and this pan, I just kind of, that and that water I kind of keep over here, since we've got really two flocks running together out here. We've got the younger chickens, which they're starting to kind of intermingle more and more, but the younger chickens, when we first put them out here, they would stay mainly in this area. So we put the pan and their own water out here, but now they're kind of running over around. So I still kind of keep some food out here, and that way they got food in here. And if the rooster's being a little rambunctious, we can the girls can still get their food and not have to be around him.
So every night we, one of us comes out. We usually make sure they got plenty of water in all their water spots, and we plug in their light, because we have a red light in with the babies, and we have a red light in with the teenager hens that we have in here, Fancy and the twins. So they have a red light, the red light actually calms them, and it's better for them to sleep in. You know, I mean, you don't really have to have it, but we choose to have it because we like to think that they're calm and relaxed while they're sleeping. So, yeah.
Next, we're going to start playing the sounds of the ocean. So that way, no, I'm joking. Okay, so while Katie's usually taking care of the chickens, doing all the chicken stuff, I'm taking care of the garden. Usually doing all the watering and stuff, and any kind of pruning up and all that. That's one great thing about having raised gardens, is that you don't have to worry about weeds. But one thing that we found out that you do have to worry about is nutrients for the plants. Our tomato plant, they have gotten huge. I mean, I've had to tie them down, and they're still leaning and stuff. And so one thing that I learned this past week, we started getting our tomatoes, but our tomatoes are starting to get what they call bud rot, I think it's called, or flower rot. And so what that means is, usually that means there's a few things that could be going wrong, but I know what our problem is that's lack of calcium. So of course I did some research online, you know, on what to do with the different things that we can do to help and make them get better fast, because of course, you know, we're starting to get tomatoes, and a lot of them are being ruined because of it. So I did a research, and one of the ones that I found, the guy was taking Tums, and he was grinding them up real fine in like either a food processor or a blender, and adding water to it. And then he would take usually 10 to 12 Tum capsules or tablets, and grind them up with some water, and then he'd pour it in his water bucket, and then water his tomatoes with them. And that would give them the calcium, because they're in raised beds. The plants really suck the nutrients real quick out of the dirt. So by the time you get to a point where you're starting to get fruit, a lot of the nutrients is gone that you need. So I've learned that you need to, even though we fertilized it and all that stuff and did the right thing for the plant, now we got to continue to put nutrients into the dirt, so that way the fruit will have the nutrients it needs to grow big and ripe. So this past 2 nights I've been putting calcium as I've been watering. Yesterday I ordered from Amazon some liquid calcium for tomato plants and vegetable plants. I made sure that it was an organic type deal, that there wasn't chemicals or anything like that, and because I don't want chemicals in my vegetables. So I ordered that and got that in yesterday, and I went ahead and watered them yesterday with it. So I'm hoping here in the next few days we're going to see a good change in our tomatoes. And but the main thing too is you got to keep them water and be consistent with your watering. I come usually in the morning time and water it down pretty good, and then especially here in the Central Valley in California, we have 100-degree plus days, so it gets hot and dry real fast. So so I water in the morning, and then in the evening time, like right now, we water them pretty good too. So I know that if you overwater them, that they'll say that they'll get the same thing, but I know I'm not overwatering them because, I mean, it's just so stinking hot here. And plus I've got raised beds that has airflow underneath and on top, so the water evaporates pretty quick. So anywho, so I do the watering on them. One thing I did do in my beds is, if you notice, there's wood chips in my beds, because what we'll do is when we clean out the chicken's roost inside, we'll take those wood chips and I'll put them in the top of my beds. And what that does is that holds moisture into the beds a lot better. And then plus, of course, there's poop in it, and so it'll fertilize as I'm watering too. So that's another way that you can keep some nutrients in your garden also. All right, so one thing we have learned, that some knowledge that we've definitely learned through doing our garden this year with planter boxes and the 5-gallon buckets, is nutrients. You have to keep having nutrients, replacing the nutrients inside your planter box dirt. Of course, God made the earth to be able to keep producing nutrients within itself in the land. So when it's God, or when it's people made, we have to do our part and keep nutrients in the dirt. So especially with the 5-gallon buckets, if you're going to be doing 5-gallon buckets, it works great. It really does. But you have to, especially if you're going to do tomatoes or any kind of squash, or peppers, really anything, you got to continue to put nutrients in the dirt. Look for a good natural product out there. They are out there. We found them on Amazon, and I'm sure your local nursery could give you some good ideas too. I built my mom and dad a planter box this year, and my mom was having the same problems with her tomatoes turning brown, and she spoke to her a person that they know that owns a nursery, and he told her that it was the calcium issue, and gave her some stuff to put on it, and she hasn't had one brown tomato since. So do your research. That's one of the reasons why we're doing this channel, is hopefully to help people. We're new at this. We're not seasoned farmers like a lot of people are out there. So we're just going to kind of give you information as we get it, and test and trials, and but don't be afraid to go out and do it. Go out. The Bible says that that God will bless whatever we put our hands to, and if we obey Him and do His word and all that, if we put our hands to a garden, He'll bless it. It doesn't mean that we don't do our work, doesn't mean that we don't go out and pull weeds or trim plants and all that good stuff. We still got to do our part, but as long as we put our hands to it, God will bless it. So anywho, that's just a little nugget of wisdom, I believe. So this is pretty much the way that we end almost every evening after we're done in the garden. Is we have our little recliners out here, and we sit out here and just kind of talk about life, and talk about a lot of the things that God's doing in our lives, and talk about the farm and our dreams and stuff like that. I think it's important that married couples, that you spend this kind of time together and talk and just kind of share what's on your heart. You know, of course, communications, your greatest friend next to God in your relationship. But we just kind of spend the rest of our evening doing this, and but before we go, we had some good news. If you go on our Facebook page and look, you'll see that the Madera Tribune did, which is our local newspaper, did a really nice article about our little farm. We were really honored to have them come out here and interview us and take some pictures of us and the family, but they said some really good words about us that, you know, we kind of felt just felt honored. You know, we kind of asked God, why us? You know, we're just a little small farm, and you know, it's nothing special. But you know, one thing I think I got in my heart was that, you know, anything that's of God's is special. And like we said in our very first video, this is more of a ministry than anything. That's why we're doing it, because you know, we love people, we want to help people, and you know, just let God kind of use us however He wants to, and if that means take us out of our comfort zone and put us in front of a camera and do that sort of stuff, you know, then we're willing to do it. So if you get a chance, go to our Facebook page. You can see the pictures and the article in it. I believe you posted in on our page. If not, we'll post it. Anyways, you got anything else to say?
No, you said it all.
Well, if you like this video and you like our channel, make sure you like and subscribe. We appreciate all your guys' support, and you know, we're doing it because we know that's what God's told us to do. And so, you know, be a light out there in this weird world, and you know, get out there and plant your own garden. You know, like I said, this is one of the first times that we were kind of doing something big like this, and you know, and we don't always succeed, but you know, we're going out there and we're doing what we feel like we're supposed to do. So if we can do it, you can do it. So anyways, that's all we got. That's kind of our evening routine, what we just shown, and so it's a lot of work, but we enjoy it. We love it. So anyways, thanks for joining us. Like I said, hit like and subscribe, and share our videos, and we appreciate everything that you guys are doing for us. Catch you on the flippity flop.